if you're building a voice AI agent, one of the most valuable things you can do is be able to retrieve the end of call report and transcript in a platform like make.com. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that using either Retell AI or Vapi AI and a make.com webhook and send them to a Google Sheet. But I just want to clarify that this video is all about actually getting the transcript and end of call report out of these platforms. And obviously, there's a lot more use cases and functionality you can build other than just uploading it to a Google Sheet. And so let's get into it. So I'm going to show you how to do it on Vapi first. But the process is practically identical on both platforms. But I'll show you the nuances once we move over to Retell. But to get started on Vapi, just going to open my dashboard here. And I've already created a demo agent in here. However, it's nothing special. All I did was create an agent and gave it, I think, a 2-word prompt. Yeah, I was told to introduce yourself. And so what you want to do here, from here, is actually, you don't want to be in Vapi, but instead you want to make a scenario in make.com. Now, I'm guessing this would work very similar in something like Zapier or inside of N8N with a webhook. However, I'm not familiar with those platforms, and so this tutorial will use make.com, but I'm sure the process is fairly identical. And then you can either add a webhook. However, I already have a webhook created, just demo end of call. However, if you add a webhook and create a new one, it would work the exact same way. And basically, you have this webhook here. And if you're not familiar with what a webhook does, it's basically sort of like a digital mailbox for receiving and sending information. In this case, we want to receive information from either Vapi or Retell AI after our voice AI agent call has finished. And so what you want to do is copy this address. I'll just save this here. Also move myself over here so that the bottom left of the screen is clear. And you want to paste this webhook down here in messaging and then server URL. And so you can see I had already pasted it there from a previous time I recorded this video and messed it up. But basically, once that webhook is there, our digital mailbox is all set up. And Vapi knows to send its messages or mail to that webhook. So I'm just going to talk to this assistant real quick so that it can load up some data.
Hello?
Hi, how are you doing today?
Hi. I'm just a virtual assistant, so I don't have feelings, but I'm here and ready.
All right, so all we needed was a bit of data. So I ended that call. And what we should see here is that if we back out, you see there are 15 records in the queue. And basically what we want is we want to have the very last record in that queue. So if it's numbered 1 through 15, we want the 15th one is that end of call report. So what I'm going to do now is manually run this 14 times, and then until we have only one more left in the queue. And so I'll see you once that's done. And so now I just got done running it 14 times, and now there's only one record in the queue. And so what I will do now is I will click on this. I will then click redetermine data structure, and then I will click run once again and use existing data. And you want to keep running it and using existing data even with all the previous ones. But now this message should be the end of call report as it is. And now what this redetermined data structure does is once you click that and then you send through sort of a shot or a mail card of data, keeping with that sort of mailbox analogy, is it now recognizes all of this data and how it's actually structured. And what this allows you to do is if you want to add another module like a Google Sheet, and I already created a quick Google Sheet just to show how this data is sort of sent and stored in a very basic way. But you could use a SQL database, Airtable, or anything else. And so I would like to add a row. And then my spreadsheet ID is just the name of this spreadsheet, which is end of call. Move myself over here. And then now you can see I can map this data. So if I want to put the transcript here in the first column, and then maybe I want the summary in the second column, I can do that. I can save that. And then if I schedule this webhook to run immediately as data arrives, I can talk to this AI again.
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you. How can I assist you today?
Then if I end the call, the data should populate here in any second. Boom. So there we go. The data automatically populates, and now you're able to map whatever data from your Vapi end of call report and your Vapi call, including this transcript here or the summary, and map it to a Google Sheet. However, there's one last thing you actually want to do here, and that is if you see um, that all these functions ran twice. So that's using up a lot of operations, because basically during the call, Vapi keeps sending out shots to that mailbox, keeps sending almost like spam mail that we don't want. It can be useful in other applications. That's using up all these operations. So if you want to save those operations, what you can do is create a filter that filters for only the end of call report. So you basically put this message type, then you put the name of that type, so end of call report. And so that way, the only message that will actually upload to the Google Sheet or send anything through is that end of call report. And so here, let me do this quickly again.
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's crazy.
So I ended that, and you'll see this will upload once again. However, if we go here, you can see all those other operations only ran once. So while this is sort of a small thing and it does work without the filter, it's nice to have the filter just to make sure your function's actually optimized. And it can actually save you a lot if it's not just a Google Sheet, but you have a bunch of other operations happening over there, such as like a Chat GPT module and stuff like that. Is when things can get really messy if you don't have the filter. So just good practice to always have that. But now, moving on to Retell AI, what I will do is turn off this function and actually unlink these to make sure that our webhook is once again just alone. And in Retell, I've done the same thing where I have a quick demo agent that is prompted to introduce itself. And you'll paste the webhook on this agent level webhook URL. And now I will sort of just go through the same process that I went through with Vapi. Hello?
Hello, how can I assist you today?
I was just wondering how you're doing.
Thank you for asking. I'm here and ready to help with anything you need. How are you doing today?
Now we should have some data loaded up in this webhook. And you see we have 3 records in the queue. And so I just go through the same process again where I wait until there is the final record, so 1 record left. And then I once again redetermine data structure, run once, and now this webhook recognizes the Retell AI end of call analyzed data. And so what you're able to do now is connect this. However, the filter will be a bit different as this message type no longer exists because it's connected to Retell instead of Vapi. Instead, what you want to do is go event, and then instead of end of call report, you want call underscore analyzed. And you will also have to change the mapping in the Google Sheet because once again, this data no longer exists because it's not Vapi sending the quote unquote mail anymore, it's Retell AI. And so what you want to do is just map this transcript, and you can map this summary, which I believe is in the call analysis. So you can save that, schedule it to run immediately as data arrives. And then if you go back into Retell and talk to it once again, keep covering it up. Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing well, thank you. How can I assist you today?
And then that's all we need, and we should see this populate right here. And so that was a super quick tutorial on how to get the end of call report and call transcript from either a Vapi AI agent or a Retell AI agent inside of a platform like make.com. I hope to see you guys in the next video, and as always, if you want more content, feel free to check out my free school community. In there, I have a bunch of templates to help you either start an AI agency or build more AI agents. So I hope you guys have a good one.